Hey, music lovers, it's Cathryn with Listen Local with another edition of Record Reflection. I am here on Starlight Mountain with my dear friend Sandi King, and we're going to talk about her brand new collection, Departure. Welcome, Sandi.
Thank you.
And it's release eve.
It is tomorrow.
That's
from the
amazing.
recording.
So you released a single back in August?
Yes, first single was August 22nd.
That's right. We played that on the show, and but tomorrow the actual entire album drops, as they say.
Drops.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
It's such a beautiful collection and stunning visually, incredible auditorily. And so we're going to talk all about it. So Record Reflection has now sort of morphed into this thing where I just let you talk at length about the process and your feelings and your songs. And we've got 13 tracks, and 3 of them are actually named after the number chronologically that they are in.
2, 6, 9, and 12. So
4.
Yeah.
2, 6, 9, and 12. And I thought that was so interesting, and I wanted to know what the heck that's all about.
So the idea for that, it's all the same song. It's all Unforgettable, which is the very first concert I ever went to with my dad, like official concert, was the Natalie Cole tribute record that she had done for her dad, Nat King Cole, and it was Unforgettable with Love.
Beautiful.
And that song just became is a theme for my dad and I, and it was the song we danced to at my wedding. And, you know, the first show that Josh and I did as King Taylor Project was a Natalie Cole tribute show the year that she passed away, and Dad played on that show with us. And so I wanted to have that song incorporated into this record in some way, but I didn't want to just redo the same thing that Natalie had done to tribute her dad. So instead of fully doing that full song, I kind of separated it out into pieces and let each individual musician that's on the record take a piece that spoke to them and do a little part of it in a way that, made sense to them, and we then rearranged them all on the record in order of how the song goes. And it just happened that the last one was Josh and I singing the actual words.
Yeah.
Just a little snippet of it.
So smart.
So it was an idea that I didn't know if it was going to work or not. And then once all the musicians got together and we all kind of talked about it, it just kind of happened to work out that way. And
who were your musicians?
I had Joshua Taylor, my husband, on guitars.
Yeah.
Johnny Tarr on saxes, a bunch of different saxes. Josh Weinstein on keys. Harley Maxino on bass, and then Tony Econom on drums. And I had some guest artists as well. Monette Marino came in and did one song. The Flemings, Willie Fleming and Annalie Fleming, came in and did some trombones on one of the tunes. And Jesse and Dominic Burns, the brothers Burns, came in and they did some stuff on one of the songs too.
Yeah, really it was cool. Amazing. What an all-star cast that is.
I know.
Holy moly. Incredible.
Yeah.
So this is a tribute to your father.
Mm-hmm.
And when did you lose him?
January 3rd, 2021.
Yeah.
It was real early on in the pandemic, and he had contracted COVID in late December. And real quick, it happened within a matter of, a week or two, and he was gone. I feel his presence every day, but specifically with this, I'm so happy and proud about the way that it turned out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a tangible thing I get to have now.
Yeah.
That was created after he passed. That was like a new thing I have now.
Yeah.
Creating something new after you lose someone is a very, very rare thing you get to do. It's usually just I have all my memories and here's these things from when he was alive.
Right.
To create something new is really, really special.
Yeah. So he was an accomplished musician.
Yeah. Yep. Trumpet player, played in a million bands throughout my whole life.
Yeah.
always playing, always music in the house.
Yeah. Well, that's evident by your talent, and which is just, I get goosebumps when I hear you sing.
Thank you.
And sort of R&B-ish is what I am used to hear you doing the jazz influenced music was, and your take on it. It was just really beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I during this listening party that I did a couple weeks ago, I did mention like most of the people who've ever heard me perform in the last 12 years
Yeah.
only kind of know me in the like soul R&B,
Right.
you know, rock
Yep.
kind of world.
Yeah.
But jazz is really my foundation,
Yeah.
for sure. And it's the first time I've felt reconnected with it in a way that was in my professional life.
Yeah.
But it's always in there, you know.
Yeah.
That's the basis for everything.
Absolutely. You recorded this with Jeff Berkeley?
Yes, at Satellite with Jeff. And it was a pretty magical thing. I mean, that space and Jeff is just, I purposely chose Jeff knowing he had never done a jazz record before.
Yeah.
Just like all the musicians on the record, there was this talk in the early, like, parts of creating the record where it was like, well, I don't do jazz, or I don't know jazz harmony, or I've only done jazz 10 years ago, or whatever. And everyone had their own stories about what they did or didn't feel prepared for. But I was like, that's why I want this exact group of people, including Jeff, to do this. 'Cause I wanted it to be everybody's personality in one thing. Yeah.
And the renditions of the songs, how did you decide to...
Well, I had a list of maybe 15 or 20 songs that I was like, okay, these are possible things to pull from.
Okay.
And then throughout the course of probably about a year, the band and I would get together, once every few weeks and bang out a song and go like, okay, let's listen to a couple versions that we know and then take it and have ideas about, oh, this would be cool if we totally reharmonized the entire thing but kept the melody the same, vocal melody, or let's bring in this New Orleans style kind of like raucous energy to this song that's never had something like that. And so everyone had ideas. I had ideas, Josh had ideas, all the musicians had ideas, and we all just kind of pooled them together, played around with the songs. Some worked like immediately, and I was like, yes, like Lush Life was the first song we figured out, and it was the first thing we tried, and I was like, is every one of these going to be this easy? Which is crazy because it's a very difficult song traditionally, like the harmonization of the melody and all that stuff. But what we just, had a lot of fun figuring out what felt good and felt right. The heaviness of the reason for making this record was not in the rehearsal space. It was more like that was before and after, but the creative part of it was just about like these group of musicians getting together and playing, having fun.
Right.
And that, I think, shows through a lot on the record.
100%. Let's play one of the songs so that listeners can get an idea of what the heck we're talking about. So pick something that you think would be a good...
I think Autumn Leaves. I started the record with that because I think it's a good kind of like hello to this whole thing.
Welcome to my collection.
Welcome. This is what you can expect and not expect from these tunes.
Let's listen to some of that.
When
Right. We did not play the entire song intentionally so that we can keep our listeners engaged and finding your collection to listen to it in its entirety. But let's talk about that.
So that opening riff is all Weinstein. I mean, it was really fun to watch and be a part of watching these musicians like create new melody lines. Like that's a new line that did not exist, doesn't exist in any other version of Autumn Leaves, but it is its own thing now. That's that's how my version of this song goes, because Josh wrote this, this line. We were all like, cool, that's awesome. And now that's like the way the song goes in my head.
Oh, totally.
It was really fun to take these old songs and just like create something new.
Yeah.
And people who know these songs really well because they are standards and they've been around for 100 years, some of them. Like the new melody lines and new riffs that, I've heard some people who've listened to the record go like, well, that's how the song goes now. That's how I hear the song.
I love that.
And me too. That's how Autumn Leaves goes now to me.
Right. Absolutely. It's been reimagined. So this is your first solo collection. Is that true?
Yes.
And I mean, you've been making music, you and Josh, and you've been contributing your amazing voice to so many collections.
Yeah.
That I know I found that hard to believe. I was like, wait a minute, that's impossible.
Professionally, I've been doing music for 12 years here in San Diego, and I've been a part of a few different original projects. Still am in King Taylor Project, and I'm a part of Johnny Tarr's band, and I play with Jeff Berkeley as often as I can, and I am very much a part of other original acts, and as well as one I participate in writing for. But I never have wanted to do a solo record. I just feel like I'm a better part of a team.
Okay.
And so that wasn't ever like a dream of mine. One day I'll be my own thing.
Right.
But that changed when Dad passed, and I was like, if I ever do a solo thing, it'll be a tribute to Dad.
Yeah.
And so that's changed a little bit in the last year or so, because I did do a co-write with Johnny Tarr, and I do have a single out that has nothing to do with this record.
Right.
And we do have more coming. Like, we're working on a whole set of singles, but that's a separate thing. But that's still a collaboration with Johnny Tarr. Like, that's not all me writing.
Right.
That's, thing that we're doing together. But yeah, that's definitely evolved throughout the course of my professional career.
Yeah.
Wanting to have a solo thing.
Do you think you'll do more solo endeavors?
I'm not sure. I'm definitely going to see out these songs with Johnny, because that's a lot of fun, and that's expressing like a pop sensibility that I definitely have in me that also doesn't get expressed in the like rock, R&B, and soul stuff that I do.
Right.
But I'm not sure. I mean, this was such a specific reason that I'm just gonna allow it to speak to me.
Yeah.
If I feel like doing more, I'll do more.
Right.
Of this kind of thing, but I have no grand designs
at
this point.
Let's listen to another song. Tell me which one.
Okay, let's do. So Paper Moon is a standard that I used to do with my dad's big band when I was like 10 years old.
Wow.
The band leader of the band he was in knew that I loved the Natalie album that she had done to tribute her dad, and It's Only Paper Moon was on that. And when I was 10 years old, he transcribed every song on that record for the big band, for this like 20-piece band.
Wow.
So that I could come in as a little 10-year-old and sing with them.
Yeah.
And I sang a bunch of shows with them, but I didn't realize at the time how incredible that was. What a huge undertaking that is for just some little kid. So like, that was awesome. But Paper Moon was one of those songs, and that it holds that space on the record as like one of the first songs I got to perform on stage with my dad and the band behind me.
Right.
And it's very different from this. My version is very different from
I was going to say, yeah, I'm sure.
But it's a lot of fun reimagining something that's so deep in my bones in a totally different way.
Right.
And again, I have to give all the credit to the guys, because I don't play an instrument. Surprise. So knowing who I was working with and wanting that to shine really is why these songs are the way they are.
All right, let's hear It's Only a Paper Moon.
It's a Barnum and Bailey world, just as phony as it can be. But it wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me. Without your love, it's a honky-tonk parade. Without your love, it's a melody played in a penny arcade. Don't change your hair for me. Not if you care for me. Each day is Valentine's Day.
That was a little bit of My Funny Valentine off of Departure, Sandy King's brand new collection of songs. Before that, we heard It's Only a Paper Moon, a little bit of that song as well. And of course, this album is now out and available, and you can listen to these songs in their entirety. We'll tell you where in a minute. But so, My Funny Valentine, another amazing rendition of a very familiar classic.
Yes.
And tell me a little about that.
So this one was really fun because my dad was a trumpet player, and Chet Baker's version of Valentine is like one of the top in my books,
Yeah.
and one of my dad's faves. And so on the personal level, it definitely is very much holds that space for one of my dad's favorite songs. And I tried to be simplistic with the vocal. A lot of these songs I try to sing more like an instrument,
Yeah.
like a trumpet, like Chet specifically,
Yeah.
because that was one of my dad's favorites. Of course, he had, Miles and all the great, trumpet dudes.
Yeah.
But specifically, My Funny Valentine and even Shadow of Your Smile, those two, I was trying to be a trumpet player, like
Yeah.
just simple, very like straightforward. And then when this song, when Harley started playing that bass line along with me at rehearsal one time, we're like, my God, that would be so cool if we could like play and sing at the same time.
Right.
What a cool like juxtaposition of sounds of the bass and the vocal.
Right.
And it just kind of blossomed from there. And it's a fun one now. We've only done it live a couple times, but it's fun to like be locked in with Harley on bass and try to navigate that and still like be expressive, but yeah.
Incredible. So will you be performing this album out live with the gang?
Yes.
Oh,
So
cool.
in December we've got a couple gigs. We're actually playing the holiday party, the Troubadour fundraiser holiday party,
Nice.
as King Taylor Project, but we'll throw a few of these in there.
Wonderful.
On the December 20th, we'll be at Lulu's, and so we'll have the whole night to explore all kinds of music. It'll be
Yeah.
King Taylor Project and friends. So
Perfect.
we'll throw some of these in. We'll do some Joshua Taylor. We'll do the KTP songs. We'll do some Johnny Tarr stuff. We'll
Yay.
do some other. We'll have
Oh,
some
what a
special
great
guests.
review that will be.
Yeah, it'll be like
Cool.
a featuring all of our friends.
Right. Let's talk about the artwork because it's stunning.
Yeah, I
And
love it. Oh,
how did you come up with that?
I have a very good friend named Casey Castile, who is a digital artist.
Okay.
She's also a musician. I crossed paths with her many years ago when I was living in San Francisco. She and I were in a rock opera together.
Oh, cool.
She played the lead. It was called Abigail. It was about the Salem witch trials. It was an original rock opera written by this group of guys in San Francisco who put on rock operas a lot. And I happened to be cast in it. And she was the lead. And she and I became fast friends. She's just wonderful and lovely. And I've always wanted, I was like, one day I'll have a reason to have some artwork from
Yeah.
her. And lo and behold, when this when this started happening, I immediately thought of her because her style is so different from what you would think of when you look at the album for a jazz record.
Right.
And that's exactly, again, what I wanted. I wanted her individual art style to come through in something that was very much a collaborative, everybody shines kind of record.
Was that her concept?
The style of artwork is
Yeah.
very much a style she does a
Yeah.
lot, but the ideas I gave her were she knew the whole story about Dad, and I gave her this kind of like short description of, my last name is King and my dad's last name is King, and we both feel a little like outsiders in our family. We feel like we're a departure from the rest of our family. One of the meanings of the record name. But still proud of the name, She's the character, who is ostensibly me, is holding the crown instead of wearing it.
Right.
Kind of staring up at this kingdom, which is overgrown a little bit, and that symbolism it all came from descriptions of how my dad and I are similar, and she took that and ran with it. And the imagery of the circles are kind of symbolic of Dad's spirit.
Right.
And I just gave her all these little ideas. And
The colors.
put them all together. This was the very first rendition she gave me.
Oh my God. And you
And
were
I was
like,
you
"That's
freaking
it."
nailed it.
Yeah.
Out of the park. The only thing she changed from version 1 to version 2 was the font for the words.
Okay.
Like, not even anything in the image.
Yeah.
And yeah, she nailed it.
Yeah, it's just stunning. I want to frame it. The colors are so
It's
incredible.
beautiful. I love it.
It really is. Nice job.
And she knew that I was gonna I made a visualizer video for the full record, which in today times comes out tomorrow when the record does. But when you're listening or watching this, it will be out already to watch. But I told her I was doing that, and so I asked her to give me all the layers, and she gave me all the separate layers so I could like fuss with all the stuff and make a really cool video. But she's great.
Yeah, because you are an incredible graphic design artist and
Thanks.
media specialist.
Self-taught,
Yeah, but you're just so skilled at it, and
Thanks.
just it's
Coming from you.
Oh my gosh, you're wonderful. Yeah, the single, when you put the single out and just got a taste of the artwork, and it was like we knew something big was coming.
Yeah. Oh, the single artwork. Those two were drawings. Can I talk about that for a second?
Of course.
So the two singles, Lush Life and Shadow of Your Smile, came out August and September.
Right.
And the artwork for that was totally serendipitously. Josh is in a band. My husband's in a band called Live from Little Canyon, and there's a female singer in that band who, Holly Pyle, she's also an artist and a musician. She's fantastic, but she's a singer in this other band that Josh is in. And Josh played the record for that band when they were out on the road. And Holly has this habit of, like, while she's listening to music, she'll just, like, free sketch stuff that she's thinking of while the music is playing.
Wow.
And the first single, Lush Life, was just this art she had done while listening to that song.
Okay.
So it was, like, a naturalistic kind of thing. And I was like, can I use this for my single artwork, please? And she was like, oh, my God, yes. And then I said, and would you be willing to do a second one for the second single?
That
so
is so
she did the same
cool.
thing for Shadow of Your Smile, and that's the artwork for the singles. It's totally separate from Casey. I just like,
That's amazing.
It just,
just some
things
doodles.
Are just happening.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So where can people listen to this and buy it?
It is out everywhere on all the streaming things. It's on Apple Music or Bandcamp to buy. I have physical CDs because I'm old.
Love physical
but also,
CDs.
like, looking at the physical CDs more.
Absolutely.
Like, sure, maybe I'll play it in my car. My car doesn't even have a CD player anymore.
Right. I know.
I will probably eventually have vinyls. It's just about raising the money to
totally
make the vinyl. But it's everywhere.
Good.
Everywhere you listen to music.
And you'll be making videos for the songs?
I may or may not. I did the visualizer video for the full record. I might split it up into separate videos.
Okay.
But right now you can go on YouTube and it's all earmarked. Like, you can skip to whatever song you want. But the full visualizer video that I did for the listening party is there. I might do videos, but it just depends on if, something happens that
the
feels
mood
right.
strikes you. Yeah. Let's listen to another song.
Okay.
Which one?
Let's do Lush Life, because that's the first single.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Lush Life is a song that I have been wanting to do and have had in my brain since I was a kid. It was like my favorite song since I was 10
Yeah.
of the jazz standards, and every version of it I've ever heard, I love it. It's just such a compelling melody, and the lyrics were always very, like, it's very sullen and
Yeah.
kind of melancholy, and like that part of me that was like an angsty kid, I was like, yeah, I'll live a lush life in some small dive. You know, the romanticizing of that life.
Right.
But, I don't know, I just always loved the song, and it was the first one I tackled with the band,
Yeah.
the very first one, and it pretty much is in its full form what the first time we,
Right.
did it at a rehearsal and like got it all together, and I was just like, man, this is how the whole record's gonna be. This is gonna be a killer. And like the band was feeling, everybody's like, this feels really cool and different and like very in line with what jazz is. You know, there's like the purists, but really what jazz is about pushing boundaries and like evolving.
Right.
And that is something I think that we capture, that part of jazz, absolutely we captured on this. And this song kind of represents that for me.
Life is lonely again, and only last year everything seems so sure. Now life is awful again, truffle of hearts could only be a bore. Week in Paris to ease the bite of it. All I care is to smile in spite of it. I'll forget you, I will, and yet you are still burning inside my brain. Romance is mush.
All right, that's Lush Life off of Departure. So, Sandy King, congratulations. This is incredible.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy for you,
That's so
and
exciting.
it's just such a beautiful listen. This was released October 22nd. You absolutely can just go and search it and find it anywhere. Listen to it, purchase it, support it, and all of the other endeavors that you have going on. What are some of those that you're going to be doing this fall and winter?
Let's see. Well, I actually, speaking of the Live from Laurel Canyon band that Josh is in, I have a one-off show with them this week in Milwaukee.
Oh, wow.
I'm subbing for Holly, the woman who did the
Yeah.
single artwork, which is going to be really fun. It's here in San Diego. We have I think Back to the Garden is something that's very similar.
Yep.
So it's all that, that music from
Right.
Laurel Canyon,
Yeah.
and it's gorgeous and beautiful, and I'm honored to be a part of it. It's another project now that I get to be a part of that my husband is also in.
Which is nice.
I mean, it keeps happening.
Yeah.
It's like people are like, "Oh, you both do stuff? Maybe we'll get you both in there."
It's kind of a no-brainer, people.
I mean, it's terrible working together all the time. Your favorite person.
Right. Doing your favorite thing.
I know. It's a terrible life, I'm telling you. I got it hard. We got a couple King Taylor Project shows coming up in December, as I mentioned. We've got kind of a mellow winter, which
Nice.
is nice. Sometimes it's a little worrying, but it's nice to like have some space to.
Right.
Because I am constantly thinking of the next thing to plan.
Right.
I love planning things
Me
and
too.
organizing. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, let's give me some time to really come up with some cool
Exactly,
ideas
yeah.
for 2025.
Simmer a little.
Yeah.
And you're available if someone needs like a video or
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on right now how much time I have. I
Right.
love making videos. I love learning how to do new things.
Yeah.
I know we were talking before this about, exploring AI stuff,
Right.
which I am fascinated by. And
Right.
I'd love to have an excuse to do something for that.
right.
I also, I'm available for singing backups.
Absolutely.
anytime. You need some oohs and ahs
Ugh.
and your gal.
The best ooh and ah around. And then you add Josh in and you get that harmonic ooh and ah, and it's just, you levitate. Yeah, it's beautiful. I highly recommend. And then I know for a while you were doing helping artists with booking. I know you kind of stepped away from that a little bit, but
Yeah.
if people needed a little consultation or something, or
Yeah, I absolutely have like any contacts or any ideas, the little sit down and like talk about strategy.
nice.
Absolutely. I always want to help. It's more about right now, since after the pandemic, a lot of my contacts are just like no longer relevant.
Right.
And I didn't spend the time after to rebuild it. So I still have a lot of contacts that may or may not work, and I love sharing them with people who are planning a tour, or
Yeah.
if you are like a new, never done something like that before, strategizing about it.
Right.
I love like sitting down and chatting
Awesome.
and talking about it.
All right. Well, I would like to play one more song as we end this. But before we do, did we cover everything? Was there anything else that you wanted to say about
I
this?
didn't really get to talk much about Jeff, but he was a very big part of the way this record sounds,
Yeah.
making the choices that he made. After the band went in and recorded everything, and we did a few overdubs, but not many. We recorded live in studio, which like is always my goal. That's always my favorite way to do it.
Yeah.
It's not always possible or the most efficient.
Right.
But with these guys and with Jeff, it absolutely worked out great.
Right.
We had Josh Taylor and Harley and Weinstein and Tony in the main tracking room,
Right.
tracking live, and then Johnny was in the vocal booth by himself with a saxophone, so
Right.
there was no bleed. And then I was sitting in the control room behind Jeff
Right.
on a couch, like
Yeah.
cross-legged with a little microphone in front of me, just
How
like
fun.
I didn't at that time we were like, yeah, these will be scratch vocals,
Right.
and I'll come in and like redo all the stuff that needs to be redone. But Jeff, in all of his infinite wisdom, put a very expensive mic in front of me
Yeah.
and dimmed the lights and made it possible
Yeah.
for 90% of the vocals on the record are from that day.
That's amazing.
I came in and did, I think, Somewhere Over the Rainbow and a couple little pickups here and there on a separate day. But, like, it was just recording live, like the jazz greats did. They all were in just a room and they did it, and that was how it was done.
That's right.
And that felt really cool. But we recorded for a few days, and then I literally just hands off gave it to Jeff and was like, I trust you. I know there are choices to be made, and you do your thing.
Yeah.
And then the first round was like most of the way there, and that like never happens. Usually
Right.
there's a ton of rounds of going back and
Right.
forth, but like every step of the way, Jeff and I would look at each other and go like, that was way too easy. This should be way harder. We need to like work a little harder, I think. So, yeah, all so much credit to Jeff for his guidance and wisdom and his choices.
Yeah.
And, taking all the stuff these great musicians did.
Yeah.
And like plucking.
Yeah. Exactly.
Presenting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As he does so well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the entire project was your dad just giving that extra magic
Yeah.
to everyone.
Photos up in the studio, Dad. And
Yeah.
2 right in front of me, and then one in the main room of him just looking so cool with his trumpet. I was
Right.
like, be cool. Like, every day I came in, I'd be like, be as cool as this guy.
That's right. Oh, I love that.
It was great.
All right. Did we decide what last song to do?
It might be cool to end with Shadow. The
last song on it?
yeah, maybe the solo portion
Okay.
out into just to give Dad's voice.
Yeah. What was that from, though?
That was from a singing competition I had done. And my stepmom...
It almost sounded like he was at a sporting event.
Yeah. Everyone was cheering. I won that singing
Okay.
competition.
Oh, my God.
And he was... Yeah, that was my stepmom was recording, like, his response to that.
Perfect. So what a gift to have that.
And the voicemails... during the solo, one of them was the last voicemail I got from him. Hey, darling, it's your dad. Yeah. Jeff was like, "Are you sure you want to use this? It's like sacred." And I was like, "That's why. I need to."
Absolutely. Yeah, this will live on for eternity, as will his memory. So that's beautiful. Shadow of Your Smile, off of Departure, by Sandi King. Congratulations again. So proud of you, and just so lucky to call you my friend.
Likewise, really.
All right, find the album, listen to it, buy it. Thank you, Sandi.
Thank you.
The shadow of your smile.
Hey, y'all. It's Dan here. Hello, darling. It's Dan.
The shadow of your smile.
Oh, do you believe that? Oh! Wild or what?